Disclaimer, the gameplay footage isn't mine, and I'll link the channels in the description. They're pretty good at the game. Also, the gameplay does show fatalities, so if you're squeamish or young, please leave the video. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be seeing who's the better Sub-Zero, Baihan or Kuai Lang. I'm gonna be ranking them based off of movesets, costume, story, and babalities. I'm not gonna be ranking them based off of fatalities, since that's not really judging based off of their character. And the babalities give us a new view or show us how they use their powers in a unique way. And the babalities are just a tiebreaker in case if it is a tie. Now let's get into it. I think Noob compared to Cyber Sub-Zero, which is who I'm going to be basing the movesets off of because they have the exact same moveset as Sub-Zero. But I think Noob has a more unique moveset because he has the tackle attack. And I think I really like how some of his attacks are other characters. So like you can have he has some melee attacks that are done by other characters, so he won't get hurt. So like you can't really melee counter it, if that makes sense. But I will say, I think that with his slide, I would have preferred him doing the slide because it moves you, and I think the slide is one of the really fun attacks, but it loses a lot of the fun aspect because you yourself are not moving. I think so. Cyber Sub-Zero has a way less original moveset compared to Noob, but he's still pretty fun to play as and against. Noob is not fun to play against because of his teleport behind you and slam attack. And I think one of his attacks is unblockable. Even though it's hard to hit, it's still pretty unblockable, which is slightly annoying. It doesn't do much damage, but I still would have preferred to be able to block that attack. But I do think Cyber Sub-Zero and Noob are both fun characters, and I think Cyber Sub-Zero was worth unlocking in the story mode. I think he was definitely worth it for the moveset. His dive kick is really fun to use, and then you can ice ball them too. I think that's just really cool. Another thing I like is that like the slide actually moves you. Unlike Noob, he has his shadow clone into the slide. That makes the attack way more fun. And like honestly, I think the movesets would be an easy win for Noob if Cyber Sub-Zero did not do that. Even though I think overall, Cyber Sub-Zero is way less fun to use than Noob, especially since you kind of need to play for an hour in the story mode to play as him freely. Even though with Noob, you basically just you can just boot up a tower and then start playing. Noob wins if it wasn't clear. This time I'm going to start out with Cyrax. Cyber Sub-Zero. I think his blue Cyrax style is stupid and I don't like it. I think his Cyber Sub-Zero's classic version is kind of stupid. I think it's kind of dumb that they couldn't, I know there wasn't a classic, but I wish that they could have just given you a different costume. Maybe they could have given you an unmasked Kuai Lang, or maybe a helmeted off version of him. I don't know, maybe give him a scar across his eye at least. Just don't make him blue Cyrax or something. I would have rather had a reference to the character, to the OG Sub-Zero. That would have been better in my opinion. And I think it would have made the character, I think it would have been a better costume. I don't think just having him be just Cyrax but blue is a great idea for the classic costume. His basic costume is fine. It's different from the other Lin Kuei cyber people, ninjas, whatever you want to call them. I think it's definitely better than them. I think it's I do prefer that. I think that's a better. I think it's better than just having blue Cyrax, the classic version of him. No hate to Cyrax's design, just I don't want another blue Cyrax since I can play as the yellow one, you know. I'd rather have something more original with the classic. And I think that the one in the story mode / the basic one definitely does that job, and I think he's like a very secret character. So I think having him be a recolor is more fine than it being another character, since like you don't really know that he's gonna be like a secret character when you boot up the game. But yeah, I think Cyber Sub-Zero's design is mediocre and his classic costume is dumb. Now, even though Noob does kind of have some recolory aspects of Sub-Zero, like there are very subtle differences in both of their basic Sub-Zero costumes, which once I compare like their basic Sub-Zero costumes, I'll put those on screen. But for now, I'll just tell you that like they are different, and so Noob's is different than the Kuai Lang Sub-Zero skin, which I think overall, if it wasn't, then I would have gotten more mad at it. But I think letting us play as that design, even if it is a recolor, I think it was still pretty cool, especially since there's no way to access it as normal Sub-Zero. Another thing that I would like to point out is that his other costume is like actually unique to the character. Even though it was, like, you could argue it's a recolor, I definitely think it's better than like Sub-Zero's color combination. And like, yes, it's a recolor, but like also it's a classic costume. Versus in versus Cyber Sub-Zero, to my knowledge, is not in classic MK trilogy or any of the Mortal Kombat original trilogy games. Now here you go. I promised that I'd show you the Kuai Lang versus Bai Han basic Sub-Zero skins, and I'll put them on screen right now. I definitely think I definitely prefer Kuai Lang's like body, but I do think Bai Han has a better mask, and I think in Noob you definitely see that mask. So I think Kuai Lang wins the Sub-Zero costume, but I think Noob wins his costume. So it's a tie for the design, I think. Even though I could say Noob has a better mask, so you could say he won, but I'm gonna make it a tie for this round. I think both of their stories are like decent, especially compared to the other characters in that game. I think Bai Han has a pretty good story about how like he got reborn and is kind of like not annoyed at. I mean, he's obviously annoyed at Scorpion, but I like how he doesn't really enact revenge. You could argue that's because he's part of Shao Kahn's team, but I think that's pretty cool. I think also Kuai Lang's revenge story is also cool. I think Cyber Sub-Zero or Kuai Lang has the better overall story. But to be fair, we get more time with Cyber Sub-Zero and Kuai Lang than we get with Bai Han and Noob. Also, Cyber Sub-Zero is a good guy and a bad guy. Noob is just a bad guy. So, I think Cyber Sub-Zero has a better story. I wouldn't let it end in a tie. We got the babalities. Now I'm not ranking the fatalities because I don't want to show fatalities constantly, and I also think that the babalities are personally better. That's why I'm ranking their babalities, not their fatalities. Just wanted to clear that up. Okay, we're gonna watch Noobs first.
Noob Silent wins. Fatality.
Okay, that's an 8 out of 10. I like how he used his own powers, which is pretty nice. I know most of them use their own powers or their personality, but I think it like shows the baby side. Or not the baby side, but it shows that he's a baby more than like but it also uses his powers, which I think is pretty cool. We neither see their personality being, for most of the babalities, we neither see their personality or their powers being used. But I like how it kind of uses the powers, but changes his personality. I think that's cool. It shows us a side of Noob that we don't really see that often. you know, a baby. Which, personally, I think is pretty awesome. Sorry that I messed up the gameplay, but we're gonna watch Cyber Sub-Zero's now.
Sub-Zero wins.
Okay, this one's pretty good. I give it a 7 out of 10. I think Noob's is better, so he wins the contest, but I'm gonna explain why. First of all, the baby is possibly in harm, or probably in harm, I should say, which is bad. I don't like that. Second of all, the vocal effect kind of like affects the crying a bit. It just sounds weird to me. But let's just watch Sub-Zero's because I have that one. I have the footage for that one, and I feel like using it. So let's watch it. Okay, this one is a solid 10 out of 10. It's funny, and I think it uses the powers, and it definitely has what I like with Noobs and shows a different side of the character. This one's one of the better ones in the game, if not the best one in the whole game. Sub-Zero wins, but since this counts as both of them, it's not going to affect the final decision. At the end of the day, Noob wins. And by the way, I'm going to clear this up. I used MK9 because it has Bai Han and Kuai Lang in it, and they're like alternate characters. I don't know if Cyber Sub-Zero is an MK11 though. I don't think he is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Also, yeah, I don't have MK11 yet. I'm gonna get it soon, so don't worry. I will get it soon, but I don't have it, so I think it'd be an unfair judgment. Plus, I don't even know if Cyber Sub-Zero's in it. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys liked, subscribe, and I'll have more Mortal content on the channel. But yeah, Noob won, so sorry for all the people who like Cyber Sub-Zero.